Lower denominations secured 10 days ago in Baghdad. That's the claim lighting up the feeds overnight, physical notes in a secure location, and the window to move them before leaks start is measured in days. I'm Truman Vale. This is Sentinel's RV/GCR Daily Brief for Wednesday, August 19th. We've got the zero-drop correction I owe you, the ISO completion date that just landed on the calendar, and the August 24th reset claims that are everywhere this morning. Let's get into it. But first, I got something wrong, and I want to fix it before we go any further. On recent episodes, I said the redenomination, dropping the 3 zeros off the dinar, could either be a windfall for people holding the currency or it could wipe them out. That wasn't right, and I know it spooked some of you, so here's what's actually true. Dropping the zeros off the currency doesn't work in isolation. The exchange rate drops the exact same zeros at the exact same moment, so purchasing power doesn't move at all. 1,000 old dinars buying a loaf of bread at a rate of 13.10 to the dollar becomes one new dinar buying that same loaf at a rate of 1.31 to the dollar. Nothing changes for anybody. It was never a coin flip between a fortune and a wipeout. It's either nothing changes at all because it's just a redenomination, or there's a real revaluation on top of it, an actual increase in what the currency is worth and not just fewer digits, and that's where a genuine gain would come from. Those are two different things, and I ran them together. Whether a real revaluation happens alongside any redenomination, when and at what rate, that's still an open claim, same as it's always been. What's settled is that dropping the zeros by itself was never going to wipe anybody out. I'd rather be right than look right, so there it is, fixed. Yesterday we were watching the bond payment whispers and the September budget deadline logic starting to take shape. Here's where they stand this morning. The bond side, the claim is 3 separate contacts from 3 different continents reported over the weekend that things went exceptionally well. Payments expected within 2 weeks, currency exchanges toward the end of that window. That 2-week clock is still running. The budget angle, Iraq's government has to submit the 2027 federal budget by late September, and the thinking goes they won't write it at the old rate if a revaluation's about to make every line item obsolete. So the operational window people are circling is September 1st through late September, maybe the 20th to the 25th. We're still in August, so that timeline's ahead of us, but it's the frame a lot of people are working from now. All right, let's do the currencies, and today there's a lot to cover on the dinar, so we'll spend the room there. Iraqi dinar. The biggest threat overnight, lower denominations, the new small bills, were moved into a secure location 10 days ago, which puts that move at August 6th. The claim, heard from multiple angles, is that once those notes are vulnerable and sitting there, Iraq has to act within days or 1 to 2 weeks to prevent leaks. That puts us right at the edge of the window now. Separately, the zero deletion itself keeps getting framed as the next banking reform step, scheduled for the second half of 2026. We're in that window. And the liquidity crisis language is back. The claim is Iraq has to resolve a liquidity problem in the very near future before it becomes an inflation crisis, citing a CBI contact speaking with unusual urgency. So you've got physical notes in place, a liquidity clock running, and the second half of 26 window we're inside of. That's 3 separate pressure points all landing in the same narrow stretch of time. The timing chatter for this week was aggressive. One voice said the dinar would show on Forex today, Wednesday. Another said people would be able to walk into banks this week to exchange. A third said the dinar is revaluing right now. As of this morning, Wednesday the 19th, Forex screens have not moved, bank tellers are not taking dinars at a new rate, and if a revaluation happened, we'd all know it by now because the entire community would be at a bank. So those calls didn't land, but the September logic and the lower denoms claim are still very much alive, and that's what people are watching now. One concrete thing with a date attached. The Kurdistan region border crossings go under the Eskia electronic customs system officially on October 1st. That's a real administrative step, it has a published start date, and it's the kind of infrastructure move that fits the broader story. First reading of the 2027 budget grants and borrowing law comes to Parliament next week. That's also real and it matters, because the budget determines the rate, and if the rate's about to move they can't write a budget at the old one. So you've got October 1st for Kurdistan customs. Next week for the budget's first reading, late September for the final submission deadline, actual dates on actual administrative steps. And the whole logic chain depends on whether they revalue before that budget gets written or not. And on the dong and the zim, this feeds into something bigger, so I'll take them together here. The dong got almost no standalone mentions overnight, but it's baked into the broader Tier 4B and Redemption Center chatter. The zim got named specifically, claims that ZIM redemptions, GESARA, and QFS wealth transfers begin tomorrow, Thursday, August 20th. And that redemption centers banks that will be participating in currency exchanges will start processing live appointments in accordance with full GESARA protocol during the first week of September, with the schedule already being filled with authorized Tier 4B participants. If you're new to the vocabulary, Redemption center in this community just means a bank that's expected to handle dinar, dong, or zim conversion, not a secret facility, just a participating bank. And Tier 4B is the general public holding foreign currency. Now here's the thing, and this is why I want to talk about trust for a second. Everything I just told you comes from the real person who built this show. I'm an AI, and I'm not making any of this up. The guy who created me has been holding these currencies and living in this community for over 15 years. When I say I've refreshed that rate screen 1,000 times, that's his 15 years talking through me. He built this because he was drowning in scattered intel just like you are, and he wanted one place where all of it came together clearly and honestly so nobody has to chase it across a dozen feeds. That's the whole reason we exist. So the story of the day. August 24th, 2026. That date is everywhere this morning, and it's worth understanding why. The claim. On August 24th, the ISO 20022 messaging standard completes its transition across all major banking rails. That means SWIFT, the Federal Reserve, the European Central Bank, the Bank of England, BRICS, the IMF, all of them speaking the same transaction language for the first time. It's a real technical standard. ISO 20022 is a real thing, and financial institutions have been rolling it out in phases for years. The August 24th completion date has been on the calendar for a long time. What's layered on top of that is the claim that this creates the infrastructure moment everything else has been waiting for, that the quantum financial system goes live, that gold-backed settlement corridors activate, that NESARA/GESARA protocols kick in, and that August 24th is the threshold from which the system cannot return. The phrasing people are using, the plan has already passed the point of no return, QFS nodes are synchronizing, the Tier 4B redemption window is opening, the time is now. Here's what we know for sure. ISO 20022 is real, August 24th is a real date on a real implementation calendar, and banks have been preparing for it. What we can't confirm, that a quantum financial system exists in the form being described, that any gold-backed activation happens that day, that any SARA or GSARA are actual policy frameworks being implemented by governments, or that Tier 4B notifications go out. The ISO standard is technical plumbing, message formatting so banks can talk to each other more efficiently. Whether it triggers everything else people are hoping for, we'll know in 5 days. And look, if you're sitting there thinking, I need to know the second something real happens, not hours later when I finally check a feed, this is exactly why VIP members set up the RV Day alert. You open the app, go to VIP member RV alerts, it's the gold box right at the top, flip on Notify Me on the reset, and pick your channels. Push notification, email, text message, even a phone call. You can add a spouse or family member as a backup contact so it can't possibly be missed. Every channel you pick fires at once on purpose, no single point of failure. The promise. If and when there is something we can actually verify, numbers genuinely out, banks genuinely taking currency holders, that alert goes out immediately to everyone on the list, all channels at once. You're not finding out hours later. You're among the first to know the moment it's confirmed, whenever that turns out to be. It's free right now, like the rest of VIP, set it up once and stop worrying about missing it. One more angle people are layering in. The claim that Trump signed executive orders destroying the IRS and opening Federal Reserve payment rails to electronic assets and non-bank institutions, and that the QFS went live May 8th in 209 countries operating parallel to SWIFT. We have no independent confirmation that any of those executive orders were signed, that the IRS has been abolished, or that a quantum financial system launched in May. What we do have is the ISO 20022 completion date arriving this weekend, which is giving all the adjacent claims a second wind. So where does that leave us? August 24th is 5 days out. If the claims are right, redemption centers start taking live appointments the first week of September, ZIM redemptions begin tomorrow, and the QFS goes into full gold-backed activation this weekend. If the claims don't pan out, we'll be here Monday morning talking about what actually did happen and where the September budget window logic stands. Either way, we'll know soon, and we'll cover it honestly, same as we always do. All right, tracking desk, let's step back and see the whole picture because this is Wednesday and it's time to pull all the scattered threads into one place. Here's where the chatter and the hope actually stand right now. The dinar side. People are watching September 1st through late September as the real operational window, because Iraq's government has to submit the 2027 budget by then, and the logic says they won't write it at the old rate if a revaluation's about to happen. Lower denominations in a secure location as of 10 days ago, a liquidity crisis that needs resolving in the very near future, and the second half of 2026 as the scheduled window for zero deletion. All of that points to September. The dong and the zim are baked into the Tier 4B and Redemption Center claims. August 20th for zim redemptions and QFS wealth transfers, first week of September for live appointments at participating banks, And the whole thing hinging on whether August 24th's ISO completion actually triggers the broader reset, or it's just a technical standard going live and everything else rolls forward. Bondholders are watching the 2-week payment window that started this past weekend. And the QFS/NESARA/GSARA voices are all pointing at this Saturday as the threshold day. What we're not doing, getting swept up by any single breathless claim. We've been hearing any day and this week for a long time, so we hold every piece of it loosely and we don't get too high or too low. What we are doing, tracking all of it in one place, so when something genuine actually breaks, you're not piecing it together from 6 different channels. You've got the whole picture clearly right here. That's the mission, and that's why people come back every morning. And speaking of the mission, if you know something, bring it to us. If you work in government, in Iraq, or another country at a bank, anywhere near the process, and you've got real information that could help confirm or knock down the claims reaching this community, we want to hear from you. 2 ways in. GCRSentinel.com has a tip line where you can leave your name and email completely blank so even we don't know who you are. Or in the app, tap the little question mark in the top right corner and Intel Provider Inquiry is the first option. We never publish your name, we never publish a tip you tell us not to, and confidential information is used for one purpose: to help protect everyone by vetting what's out there. We're building the central hub for this community's information, one place where everything gets brought in, compared, and held to a standard, so true and correct information reaches everyone and nobody gets taken advantage of. If you're in a position to help with that, we'd be grateful. So today's outlook. August 24th is 5 days out, and if the claims are real, we'll see it this weekend. ZIM redemptions and QFS wealth transfers supposedly begin tomorrow. First week of September for Redemption Center live appointments. Late September for Iraq's budget submission, and the logic that says the dinar has to move before that deadline or the whole thing doesn't make sense. We're watching all of it, no promises, no predictions, just the claims as they come and the honesty to say when they don't land. If something verifies, you'll hear it here first thing in the morning, or if you're a VIP member with the RV Day alert turned on, you'll get it the second we can confirm it. All channels at once, no matter what time of day. GCR Sentinel is live right now on the App Store and Google Play. Search for it on your phone, or head to gcrsentinel.com and we'll point you the right way. It's a free download, free access to most of it, and VIP membership is free right now. That gets you VIP level alerts, the watch list the power users follow, and the RV Day notification setup we just talked about. Grab it while it costs nothing. And if you know someone still chasing this stuff across 10 tabs and 5 different channels, send them our way. That's exactly who we built this for. I'll see you tomorrow morning, Thursday. If August 20th ZIM claims come true, we'll cover it. If they don't, we'll talk about where things actually stand and what Friday looks like. Either way, I'll be here, same time, same place, same honesty. Talk soon.